This is the Manchester United weekly summary. Now, what we're going to touch on with this is where we are at the moment, what we've been up to, and pretty much just going to be touching on what's to be expected over the coming weekend and what we can expect in terms of a result. Now, I know the previous game against West Ham wasn't what we wanted. Maybe some of us expected a draw. Said where we are right now, I can safely say that we are going to be with our destinies in our own hands, if you like. Now, I know it seems doom and gloom, but I wanted to touch on a couple of things to touch on some positives, which is very hard to do, and I also wanted to touch on some stats from how we've been playing the last few games. So yeah, let's get into it. Before we go into it, let's have a look at here. Yo, what's going on, G? Red Devil Studios in the house. What's going on, my brother? Yeah, man, make sure you go and check out Red Devil Studios channel. Does some brilliant content. We're still yet to do our channel together. We will get round to it, I promise you, and he does too, I'm sure. So let's start with some of the positives. I did want to touch on. Oh, listen, like I said, I know it's disappointing result against West Ham, but ultimately we still, it's still in our own hands. So touching on some of the positives, then we've gone on a 19-game unbeaten run. We had 5 draws within that span of time, and we also had 14 wins. We re-established a dangerous attacking unit, albeit it is just our starting 11, but we've re-established a very, very significant dangerous attacking unit, and teams are fearing us again. Teams are wanting to completely park the bus against us. They're scared to come out and play against us for 2 reasons. Number 1 is because of our absolutely blistering counter attack, and number 2 is literally because they're fearful of opening up, and if they're not compact, then we will play straight through them. And even when teams do stay compact against us, we are still playing straight through them. So that being said, if we look at, for example, our last 5 results, now we've scored, I'll get it right. So we scored it. Obviously, we've scored in every game, not including the game against Chelsea, which we did score, but just we're looking at the Premier League games here. We scored a goal against West Ham. We scored 2 goals against Palace, 2 goals against Southampton, 3 against Villa, and 5 against Bournemouth. So we are being consistent in terms of we are scoring, or we are also a goal threat. However, we've been declining. On the goals front, we've been declining. We've come across a consistent team. By that I mean we know a potential starting 11 for every game, and that proved to be correct, where we had the same team 5 games in a row, which hadn't happened since 1993. So that in itself tells you that Ollie's got in his head what he believes his best starting 11 is at the moment. And also, in terms of last season and the season beforehand, we didn't really have a consistent starting 11. We didn't really know what our best team was because we didn't have the quality. Now we've got the quality. We've got 2 world-class central midfielders with dangerous young forward line in Rashford, Martial and Greenwood, and the goals that they're scoring is been proven. Now, we've earned some respect back as well with that being the case. By that I mean everyone used to love hating Manchester United, feared us because of our attacking prowess and our consistency in terms of winning titles and trophies. So since we've not been able to do that since Fergie left, we've lost some respect. That fear factor. Teams used to not fear coming to Old Trafford anymore. I know it's not as quite as intimidating as it could be because the fans aren't there. But like I said, we've earned some respect back because of how consistent and dangerous we have been. So we do have to look at those things. I know we've had a couple of disappointing results as of late, but we do have to look at the positives as well in terms of where we are. We have to realise that we are actually in a Champions League spot right now. We are in the Champions League spot right now. Now, 4 or 5 months ago, when we were sitting in 6th position and 13 points off Leicester, I couldn't see us hitting the Champions League spot, but we gained momentum, we gained confidence, and we started playing some very attractive football again, which has been missing again since Fergie graced with his presence in the dugout. So that again, we've identified a consistent team, our starting lineup, and we've also, like I said, we've got some identity back. We've got some identity back in terms of how we should be playing, going at teams. As of late, it's slow down. As I said, I touched on that when I get onto the statistics as of late, but we've got an identity back, I feel, of how we should be playing. I feel like we're an attractive proposition now to other clubs as well. Now we look back at the summer transfer window when we were scratching and scraping for players to come to Manchester United. Obviously, we were linked with Bruno Fernandes then. The trigger didn't get pulled then, but we were linked with Dybala, we was linked with Cavani, we was linked with a whole host of players, to which it didn't seem they wanted to actually come to Manchester United. And Sancho seems somewhat of a bit of a pipe dream, whereas now it seems like a pretty much a foregone conclusion and with an air of inevitability to it. So we have to remember that, and we do have to appreciate the fact that we've come a long way. We're sitting in Champions League spot right now. Our destiny is in our own hands, and that's all you can ask for, really. That Ollie and the lads have got into that position. Along the way, we've had some fantastic performances, and it's been literally since January. We've been since Bruno's coming, we've been a different team. Since lockdown, we've been an even more of a consistent attacking threat, I should say, rather than a better team. We have to look at a very, very good, special young core we have at the club as well. We have to understand that we've got not just in the first team, but some of the lads in the under 18s that play for the under 23s as well. We have to realise that. But obviously, leading that very good young core that I'm speaking of is the likes of Brandon Williams. It was good, by the way, to see Timothy Fosu-Mensah come back the other day as well. But leading that young core is Brandon Williams, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, obviously Marcus Rashford, Martial, who's pretty much stepped up this season. But them two together have 22 goals, between them in all competitions. Listen, I was saying that we could do with someone getting 25 goals a season, like Rashford or Martial getting 25 goals a season. They're both 3 off at the moment. And at the top of that list is obviously Mason Greenwood, the wonder kid, the lad that's smashing and equaling all these kind of records at the age of 18. Everyone's raving about Mason Greenwood, and they're right to do so. Now, in the same breath, from saying let's hold on a little bit, because we need to make sure we're looking after his health and his development, not playing him too much. But in this circumstance, because we're chasing Champions League's spot, well, I say we're chasing it, we're in it at the moment, but we're trying to hold on to it now with the next game. It's imperative that obviously Mason Greenwood plays at the moment. It's hard not to play him. He hadn't scored for a few games. Obviously got a goal against West Ham, a brilliant goal, may I add, as well. So yeah, we do have to look at some of the positives, and those were the positives that I did want to touch on, just because at the moment it's seeming very, very doom and gloom. It's seeming very, we have to understand and realise our own destiny is in our own hands against Leicester away on Sunday at 4 o'clock. Yeah, if I just go to the comments quickly, and you have to excuse my squinting because my laptop, it's not that far away, but I suppose my eyes aren't that great. Red Devil Studio, can we beat Leicester though, bro? I actually think we'll get a draw against Leicester. I don't We can beat Leicester, yes, we can. But as I said, I'll touch on the stats. Our goal scoring form as of late in the last 5 Premier League games, not all conditions, has it's just dwindled down. If you include all competitions as well, again, game against Chelsea, we scored 1 goal. So yeah, I mean, it's not encouraging in terms of that. Some of the obviously the goal leading up to Mason Greenwood's goal was even walking pace for the first, I suppose, 30 seconds. We score every game, which is encouraging. Yes, it is. But as I was saying, our goal scoring ratio is declining very quickly over the past 5 games. But Leicester have nothing to lose, which is very true. If we had Bruno since the start, would we have got top 4? Very easy, very easily. It's hard to say no. It's very hard to say no, but purely and simply because of the impact he's had. Mason Greenwood has come to fruition no sooner or no later than he was supposed to. It's taken him time to develop. However, Bruno not signing, you can attribute to us not being further along the line directly with Bruno not being here in the summer. I do completely stand by that statement. Red Devil Studio there firing the question in about the top 4 spot. Yes, I do believe we would have got top 4. We're in it. We must remind ourselves we're still in it. But it's whether we can stay there. That's the question come Sunday. I believe we can beat Leicester, but I'm predicting a draw only because we're not being firing in all cylinders recently. Purely down to fatigue and tiredness and too many games in a short space of time. That's what it comes down to. Tom Charlton saying our performances have been poor last few games. It can't be burnout. All other teams are in the same boat. They are indeed, Tom. And the only reason I say there's a lot of fatigue in there is because you can see the performances. Like you said, Tom, it's the performances have dropped down quite significantly over the past few games, as Tom stated, and that is, I believe, a direct correlation with the fact that we have played so many games and we've been playing the same team, starting the same team. Obviously, Luke Shaw's got injured, Brandon Williams got injured, Eric Bailly got injured. So that I look at that as a direct correlation as well. Now, in terms of if it's an excuse, no, it isn't. As Tom said, everyone else has been playing the same, amount of games as us in terms of spacing of time. But what I will say, everyone's been beating everyone. So that lends itself to the inconsistency. Liverpool, for example, in their last 5 games, they won against Chelsea, lost against Arsenal, drew against Burnley at home, won against Bristol, and won against Villa. So they've, in their last 5 games, they've won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1. City have won 4 of their last 5 games and lost against Southampton. We've won 3 of the last 5 games and drawn 2. Chelsea's won 3 of their last 5 and lost 2. Leicester's won 2 of their last 5, drawn 1, and lost 2. So it's there for all to see that, the inconsistencies are there throughout the whole entire league. I mean, Crystal Palace losing their last 6 league games, and they're sitting in 14th place. Southampton's won 2 of their last 5, drawing 3 in between those two wins. I suppose Tottenham at the moment, you'd have to say now that we drew against West Ham, they're the form side in the league because they've won 4 of the last 5 and drawn 1. So everyone has been pretty inconsistent, been beating each other, been drawing, losing, possibly where they wouldn't have before, because obviously attrition and fatigue comes into it, and that's a very, very real thing. So we can't really ignore that. So yeah, and we're no different. The difference is we've been starting the same team game after game after game after game, and I think we're seeing players and have seen players suffer from that in terms of performances and obviously injuries. So we do have to look at that. If we get into some of the stats that I just wanted to let you guys know about as well, or just bring to your attention, I should say. So we've kept 2 clean sheets in the past 5 games. They were against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. So teams we should have been beating. We didn't play great against Palace, and we didn't play great against Aston Villa either. So, you know, yeah, we got the win. Yeah, we got the goals, but let's be honest, we didn't play great in those games. We have also dropped the points where we've dropped have been at home. We've drawn in our last 5 games. We've drawn 2 games. Those 2 games have been at home. I know there's no crowd, but still our pitch. We're used to that pitch more than the visiting side, so it should be, and normally is, an advantage. But again, attrition and fatigue, mental fatigue, physical fatigue, it's a very real thing. So we can't ignore that. The goals I was mentioning before, in terms of the goals we've been scoring, has been on the decline in the last. We can look at all competitions. We can look at the last few Premier League games as well. Now, in the last 5 Premier League games, we have scored, and this is in order, by the way. We've scored 5 against Bournemouth, 3 against Aston Villa, 2 against Southampton, 2 against Crystal Palace. If you count all competitions, then Chelsea's in there as well. We scored 1 against Chelsea and 1 against West Ham. So, like I say, our scoring levels have declined significantly over the past 5 Premier League games. So we have to take that into account as well. In terms of those last 5 games as well, we've scored 13 goals. Those goal scorers are split between 5 different players, and they are Anthony Martial with 3 goals, Mason Greenwood with 4 goals, Rashford with 3, Bruno with 2, and Pogba with 1. So, as I say, we've scored 13 goals in the last 5 games, and they're split between them 5 players. So, you know, the goals have been spread around a bit. Mason Greenwood's heading up the goal scoring chart within the last 5 games. So yeah, if you want to add the Chelsea game in there, Bruno's got another one, which would take his tally up to 3 in the last 5. So, I mean, we're scoring goals, but as I said, that's been declining quite rapidly over the past few games. As I say, 5 goals against Bournemouth, 3 against Villa, 2 against Southampton, 2 against Palace, 1 against West Ham, and obviously, if you want to count all competitions, another 1 against Chelsea. So, you know, as I say, we've been scoring in each game, but there has been a significant decline, let's say. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but that's literally how it is. What is the ceiling for Greenwood next season? That's my guy, Red Devil Studio. I will say ceiling. There ain't one. There really isn't one. When I've seen Greenwood from last season to now, where he had his high top fade, he's rounded off. He was very slight. He was only 17 when he come in, but he's started rounding off. His shoulders was rounded off and broadened a little bit. So yeah, I mean, you know, you can't say fairer than that, really. He's done his job. He's done his duty, and he's done and doing well. So hats off to Mason Greenwood. He's been doing his bit, and next season, I believe he'll continue to do the same. What is it, 17 in all competitions now? Yeah, I believe it is 17 in all competitions. Next season, I can see him getting another bag of goals. So yeah, brilliant from Mason Greenwood. I'd see him scoring 20 plus next season. He's very close to that this season as well. 10 in 11 starts. 9 goals and 10 starts in the Premier League as well. So yeah, Mason Greenwood, well beater, I'd say. I really would. But we shall see. I will be bringing you, it was just a quick, as I say, weekly breakdown, weekly summary. I'll be bringing you my match review for the Leicester and Manchester United game for Sunday's kickoff. I'll be bringing that tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for that. Thank you very much, guys, for joining in, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care, stay safe. Fingers crossed for Sunday.